Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Flory. Look, sun's out. Just thought I'd mention it. Not often we see it, but it's definitely drying everything up, which is quite nice. Well, as you can see, might as well start with it. The Iwo Jima is almost finished. Still got quite a few bits to go on, and when I say almost finished, it's probably still another couple of days' work. Photo etch, fun. When you see the video of it, you'll notice that it's not as bad as I thought it would be. There is miles of photo etch that go on this particular kit. It's not just railings that you can see, there's some tucked up underneath, getting the bends round, all round up on the island round here, trying to get them all in and stay put and everything else was particularly bad. And then obviously just getting these deck ones to lay somewhat natural, because in real life obviously they're netting and they sort of sag and everything else. So you're just trying to recreate that and go around absolutely everything. Real hats off to guys. I know if you're following the Bismarck build, actually on the site, the way that they've gone around and made all the railings sag as if it's chain on every one. Really? I wasn't going to do that because there's just far too much of it. I think we got away with it. It looks really, really good. You've got the next part up today, which I do believe is part 6. That talks about the painting stage, everything else. Obviously 7 are going to be on Monday, which will get you all the paint work done and the weathering as well, and rust work, which we'll talk about in a moment, about how I actually did it. To say it's a big kit and taking its time is a little bit of an understatement, because you just don't realise how long it physically takes to do jobs on ships, because you've just got all these little tiny parts and going through, and I've still got to put on obviously a lot of the radar system, all the guns, all the lifeboats have still got to go on here, obviously the weapons, the aircraft fit all on the deck. I want to put some vehicles as well, as if they're being airlifted out, so there's still quite a bit to go on this kit, which is really sort of, you know, changed my opinion of doing in ship kits, because as I say, it's the first kit I've done for a long time, and certainly weathering them as well is a real art form to try and get it in scale, which is something I cover quite a lot, we talk about as we're going through, but we're all getting there. I haven't actually wired up, I'm trying to find somewhere to grab it, anything yet. It's still all a loose fit, because to be honest I'm going to do that tomorrow, get it all totally wired in and everything else. I have done the base, so we've got a little micro switch on here, the power unit will go up underneath, but that's all ready. It has all been tested and it all works and looks an absolute treat. So there we go, part 6 will be up on the site obviously today, part 7 will be up Monday. There's probably, looking at how much editing I've got to do, I've got another hour's worth of editing to do to get to this stage, but I'll probably edit out a lot of this photo etch work because it's very repetitive and everything else. So once I show you how to do it, obviously you can go through, so forth and so on, but it's not as much of a fight as I really thought it would be, and it really did surprise me, because when you get on with the roll with it, it's quite straightforward. So you get used to how much super glue will tack it in place, where to bend it, how to measure it out and everything else like that, and then popping around PVA glue just to weld it down properly into position afterwards doesn't take too long, and actually, you know, get some good tunes on. Quite enjoyable doing it all, but really coming to life now. Trying to spin it around, you can see you know, both sides of it. Hopefully you can pick out the actual weathering we've done to the hull and everything else to give it that sort of grind down look and everything else like that, but really am enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to be a ship convert completely overnight, and I'm not going to be, as I have been getting a lot of emails about, am I going to start doing the Missouri 1 to 200? Yeah, not quite, not for a while anyway. But from a ship point of view, it's great how you can take your techniques, certainly from as an aircraft modeler like myself, and a little bit of armour, and you tweak them slightly, and there you go, you sort of suddenly come along with something looking really, really good, very impressive by using those same techniques. So don't think, oh, there's no point watching that one, it's all about ships. If you have a look, obviously you can learn about using photo etch, weathering, things like that, scale weathering effects, certainly on something like this. But really have enjoyed it, I must admit. It's one of those ones where, you know, it's coming to the end and I'm actually going to miss it. But then we have got the Star Destroyer to move on to and everything else like that. So there we go, that's that one done. Got to speak, the forum had an upgrade yesterday. I had loads of messages saying, well, what's it do? Okay, the big difference is it's not where you click on the, he says, because I've got it up over here, it's not when you click on the new posts is where it all changes. What changes a lot is the little stars down. When you look at the forum as a whole, you'll get the little stars. So if you go down to the bottom, okay, and click read all of those will go. Then when new posts come in, they will stay yellow until you've read it. Then when you've read it, they go back to being clear and you can't see. So anything with yellow stars is stuff that's new, not so much where it says new posts, because those still seem to disappear. I don't think they've totally fixed that problem yet, which I'm hoping they would. But that's how I've been using it over the last couple of days, and certainly how I've got used to it now, of seeing, oh, yellow star, there's a new thread inside that particular forum. Okay, so you go in there, you can then see it, read it, and once you've read it, you can either click that you've read it, or if once you've been through it all completely, it will then go out, and that's how you do it. But as I say, it doesn't affect anything. A lot of people were saying about, oh, what's it going to change now? It doesn't really affect your overall use of the forum. Nothing changes like that. It's just that we have got a few little things coming down the pipeline where you can now attach messages and attach files to private messaging and things like that, which are coming quite handy. But they're all sort of coming online today, yesterday, and things like that. So if you notice little changes, that's what it's all about. Airbrushing courses. Okay, I didn't realise there was that many people who wanted to sit in here and be bored to death by me, quite frankly. Sort of underestimated. March booked out within about an hour of the new show going out, so that one went. April is now fully booked as well. So what I've been doing 2 weekends per month. That's the way it actually has been working. So, you know, technically I'm only going to have 3 people in here per day because we've got 3 proper workstations for it. And I don't want people sitting around and not on the end of an airbrush, because I don't think that's right. So that's why I've limited the numbers. From originally we were going to do sort of 4 to 6. I just don't want people sitting around. You really want to be in here as much time as you can get on the end of an airbrush and learn as much as you can. That's the point to it. But certainly what I will do is add dates as we go. It's just that I don't know from my point of view what I'm doing next month until I've spoken to the boss, and when she says I can do it. So that's why so far we've only really put up there the dates for March, April and May, and then June would be okay. July I've got a few things on, to be honest, during that month, and then obviously August and September we can add 2 weekends amongst them, but obviously I'm going to have a couple of weekends off amongst all these things as well. But certainly we're pushing ahead with them. Got you all booked in and everything else like that, and we should have a lot of fun. Next week I should have some of the gear here, I'm hoping, which will show you. So I'm getting more airbrushes in, more bits and pieces from everything airbrush, compressors and things like that, which will make things a lot easier. Okay, we've got to start off with, we're going to have a look round Eric. I've got to pronounce your name now because I don't remember it. It's Robacek, is it? Sorry, Robacek. Sorry, Eric. Great man cave, everything else like that. So let's have a look.
Hey guys, my name is Eric Robacek. I am 18. I've been modeling for probably 5-6 years now. Started by picking up a random kit when I was a kid. I convinced my parents to buy it. Just bought a tube of glue, put it together with some paint, and it didn't turn out too great. It was okay, but got me thinking to do another one. And then after that I just did some more. The first one was a plane. It was a Corsair, I believe. It was 1/72. I still have it somewhere. And then after that, I picked up some more planes, small ones, for about a year or two, and then I stopped for a while. For about 2 years I didn't do anything. And then I picked up a kit again, and I really liked it. Probably when I was 13, I really liked it. And then about a year later I found Phil's site, but I hadn't subscribed to it. I found his videos on YouTube, old ones, old news shows, old wash videos. And then I scounged the website, looked at all the photo builds, but never subscribed until about 2.5 years ago. And now I like it a lot. It's really great. So show you the man cave. So yeah, this is my cave. It's not much. It's in the basement. Got not finished basement. Whatever works. Gets a bit chill in the winter, but it's okay. I got a lot of space too. Surfboard. No, not sure that's down here, but yeah, a lot of space. Pretty nice. In the summer it's good. So I don't have much of a stash. I pretty much buy and build because I really only model during the summer because I'm at school all year and I'm not home very much, so I really don't have much of a stash at all. Those are old build boxes that I keep spares in, and whatnot. So what do we got over here? We've got Sanders, Phil stuff, great stuff, love these. Some Squadron ones, these are okay, not nearly as good as Phil's are. Have some super skinny sticks. I can't remember where I got those. Various tools and whatnot, scribers, riveters, tweezers. I actually got these from a hospital visit. Taking stitches out. Same with these clamps and these scissors. They keep it after they take stitches out. Pretty good. They're really sharp. Work really well. Yeah, have some beefier scissors for taking stuff off screws and whatnot. Knives. One with a pin vise with a drill bit. Extra blades. Got Tamiya tape. Some clamps. That's just some styrene rod and whatnot for scratch building. Lots of wire, not lead. I need to get lead. That's steel and aluminum wire. Ugh, horrible stuff. Saw for construction, mostly just use them for getting resin blocks off. What do we got? Light. People have asked me about these lights. I have no idea where I got them. My family's had them for about 10 years. I think we got them at Bed Bath & Beyond a long time ago, but I can't find them anywhere anymore. But they work great. I got one over there too. They're really bright. I got a little smaller one right here. It works pretty well. I had to get, when I moved here in August, I moved to New Hampshire. I moved from Illinois to New Hampshire. And I got a lot more space. Maybe I'll put a picture up of my old space in the video. I got a lot more space. Like, I used to only have one of these tables. I just work off both sides. Now I have two tables, so I need a lot more light. And the lights in here are not very bright, so had to get more lighting. Yep. So paintbrushes. I don't have a whole lot of tools. I pretty much just, if I need something or I break something, I'll just buy a new one. I don't really stockpile anything. I haven't been doing it for long enough to have stockpiles of everything. Oh yeah, A10, Hobby Boss. Still need to finish that. Almost there. I took a break to work on this thing over here. Dog of a kit, but it will look pretty awesome when it's done. Yeah, so I got these cutting mats. These are new. I got these about Christmas time this year. I think they're the same mats Phil has. They're the Helix mats. I think they're A2, I believe. Yeah, paint shelf. I made that this summer. Came out pretty well. Just perfect size. Have a lot of Tamiya paints, as you can see. I got a lot of Model Master enamel, because I know Phil doesn't like to use them. I like to use them because they have all the FS colors. It makes things much easier for doing military aircraft. It's got some Alclad. What else? Washes, micro, all the micro scale industry stuff, great stuff. Mr. Surfacer. This is all the paint for the SI-71. It's a lot of black. Got Phil's pigments. Shame he doesn't make those anymore. They're great. Surface primer, great stuff. Pledge. I'm glad you can still buy that in the U.S. because I know lots of places you can't anymore. Yeah. So this is my airbrushing compressor. It's the Iwo HPCS Eclipse, I think. It's the same one Phil has. The compressor came with the airbrush. It was like a bargain deal or something. It was a package. I really need to get a new one. It's not that awesome. It works, but it can barely hold 25 psi. And it gets warm pretty fast too. And as you can see, I do not have a spray booth. I have windows and a fan. And I have this hefty 3M respirator because it gets pretty fumy sometimes. Yeah, so that's about it down here. Oh yeah, my wonderfully comfy chair from Office Max, that was awesome. Yeah, none of the models are down here because this is just my building area. I'll show you those. Those are upstairs in my room right now because I still haven't found a good spot for them in the house. So, see you up there. So, up in my room, it's got the V1V. That was a wonderful build. Lots of work, but turned out good. The 172nd Revell U-boat, built that one up. That was a long time ago. I'd love to rebuild that with my skills now. I think it turned out much better. Over here, F-22, F-15, and then the F-18. Nice little line. Hope to do the Hobby Boss, Black Widow, and stick it next to this guy. I got the two rivals going. Yeah, still unpacking from August. Still boxed all over our house. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.
Well done, Eric. Great site you got there. Got a nice little workspace, everything else like that, and you produced some fantastic work, so thanks to him. Right, I've had loads of questions this week, mainly off of Facebook and things like that. We're going to start off. This is Dan from the USA, and he asked me, "Hi Phil, notice you don't use anything from MiG or AK Productions. Is this because of your line of washes, etc.?" No, to be honest. I've been asked this before quite a few times, because obviously we do a range of washes, but they're nothing like AK or MiG Ammo or MiG Productions or whatever name they're under these days. It's purely because I've been doing this longer than they've been around, to be honest, and I think it's just a case of that I've never used their products because I've got it covered on other things. I don't want it to sound like I don't like their products because I haven't really ever used them. I suppose that's the reality. I have got some, like for instance, and I'm looking around for it, we do have some AK stuff because I've got their burnishing fluid and things like that. But to be honest, it's purely because I think if you're an armour guy and you're new to the hobby, it was very easy to sort of be drawn into their way of weathering because they've got some great techniques about using their products. And don't get me wrong, they do have some fantastic products, okay? It's just that because I was around before them, the products I use are roughly the same thing, just under a different name, more from the art side of things. For instance, and as I say, don't take this as me as having a dig at Mick, because he's a lovely guy, he's a fantastic modeler, and I really look up to him, and his work is absolutely amazing. It's just that from my point of view, I use things like, certainly I use a lot of ink. You've all seen me recently, I've seen a bit of a spell on it, but I use a lot of India ink, I use a lot of normal inks as well. I've got a lot of Winsor & Newton stuff down here. I use, they obviously do oil ranges and things like that. Well, down in here I've got a range of normal artist oil paints and things like that, so I can make up what their products are. Now, if you don't know how to do it, it's a lot easier to go out and buy MiG stuff, okay, because his stuff is specially formulated to work on a specific area. So if you want something for doing sort of weathering techniques, it's easier to go out and buy MiG stuff, and certainly their weather sets and things like that, because you can do it. Me, because I've been doing it longer, I make them up myself using other things. So that's really the reason to it. But I don't want this to sound like I don't like MiG stuff and that you might as well just go out and buy art stuff, because to be honest, everything we do, you can go out and buy other things as well that will roughly do the same type of thing, okay? But what, you know, just it's a personal choice for me. It's just that I use inks and I'll blend my own colours. So for instance, I use a lot of the black one, but then I've got different shades of it down here. So I've got darker ones where we've mixed up our own ink washes, which do a lot of things like MiG type things do. Also their product range tend to be very enamel based and things like that, so, or did originally. So I tend to keep away from things like that. I like things that are easily fixable and wipe clean and have no problem with it. So I do tend to mess it up quite a bit. So it's not that I don't like ink, and there's nothing to do with them obviously being up against, because as far as I'm aware they don't do an art clay type wash or anything else like that, but most of their stuff does tend to be sort of, you know, weathering areas and stuff like that. That said, they do their new range of paints and things, they seem to be very nice, and I've only heard good things about them. So there we go, that's about it. There's no real reason, it's just never crossed my mind to buy any really. Okay, LED lights. We showed you in your case last week, and also you're going to be using them on the Star Destroyer. How are they easy to use, and where do you get them, and how much do they cost? And I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name, I'm very sorry. Chustov or something from Russia, okay? Okay, I've got them here. This is another set, because as we know, I've used my one over there. You basically, it comes as a kit, okay? You can buy it off of eBay. If you go on eBay and put in their LED light strip, okay, you will get it, and it comes in this. Now, you can buy it in little tiny lengths of like just a couple of inches for a few pounds, okay? Or you can buy a full set like this. This is 5 meters, and it's been pre-soldered on the end and everything else like this. And you can buy this for around about £5. So it's very, very cheap. You can cut it up and solder it exactly what you like. It's all been completely, it's got little cut marks where you cut it and solder it. It's got capacitors and resistors and all those things I know nothing about built into these. So literally, as long as you're coming in with a 9 or a 12 volt, it will work. Okay, so obviously you can hook it up to a square battery, a little battery like this, or you can come in and you can buy a mains 12 volt, which is DC, 2 amp, power converter, and you can plug it in the mains. And that is, to be honest, what I'm going to do with the Star Destroyer, so it runs off the mains. And I bought 2 of these. There's another one over there, and these things cost around about £4 or £5 off of eBay. Again, if you just put in there 12 volt power adapter, you want DC 2 amp ones, okay, and they just plug straight in. And what you can do, again, looking on eBay, you can buy these little guys, okay, where you can screw the wires in, and then obviously you've got the male and female parts to plug it in on an adapter just like that. And it is so cheap. It all comes out of China, as we know these days, and to be honest, it is stupidly cheap because you can buy massive lengths of this if you want to. Now, they do other things. They do multicolored ones as well. They do RGBs, obviously red, green and blues. They do other wacky colors. You can have them that they flash. You can have them that they sort of fade in and out. They do all different things. You can get them with a remote. I don't know if I've showed you that one. I've got one here as well. It comes with a remote, so you can change the colors and absolutely everything. The reason I like to use LED lighting is, one, there's no heat, so you don't have to worry about melting plastic, okay? Secondly, their power consumption, as I said, eventually, to be honest, the lights did die on day 6 of leaving them on in the cupboard on that little square battery. They did fade off to nothing, but 6 days with all those LEDs going, you know, I don't know how many hours that is, but quite a few, no problem at all. So, you know, if you want something that's pretty much safe to use, and it's going to last forever, they're not going to burn out. So it's not like we're going to put it inside a model like here, and then in a couple of years time the bulb's gone, and how are you going to get to it? So that's the point of using that. But say, look on eBay, Fleabay, Evil Bay, whatever you want to call it, it's still one of the best places and cheapest to find these things. But LED strip lights, okay, the colours I use as well, because you did mention what colours I use. I like to use either warm, if you want a yellow type hue to something, like I've got on the mid deck of the carrier, that's called warm. Or cool. Cool is what I've got in the cabinets and will go in the Star Destroyer, and that is that sort of neon, crystal clear, daylight type colour. It's like a bluey hue to it, but it's very strong, but it gives a natural light, absolutely everything. So that's that one. So there we go, that's your questions. If you've got any more, you can use your thing, shoot me at Facebook or directly via the site or anything else like that. Usual thing as well, I know a lot of you have resent me things with your correct email. If I don't get back to you, if you've sent me a message via the site, please do it again and check your email, because if they bounce back, so I did have a couple this week that actually bounced back and gave us a little bit of trouble. Excuse me, yes, I have got the lurgy. Right, next up, we're going to have a look around. We're going to have a look at doing rust. Okay, this is our new quick tip section, so I'm going to show you about how I do the rust effects like we've done on the carrier. Okay, so this week's quick tip is doing rusting like we've done here on the ship. Really quick way of doing it instead of messing around with all these different various techniques you can do. It's real simple. What we're going to do is grab our buster. Okay, so we have our buster just like this. First thing you're going to need, okay, is some pigments. I do it with pigments, don't use anything else, okay? I've got some of the Life Colour range of pigments here, and they do a rust set, a full-on rust set, which is quite a nice one. And you've got various different colours, things like that. With your scale, with rusting, depending on how what your scale is. If it's a particularly large scale, so if you're doing something like 1/32, 1/350, you might want to use more of a red colour. The smaller scale you do, you probably want to make it more of a brown, okay? That way, it just gives it a better effect, and obviously when you're looking at the ship, you can see it has a more of a gentle look to it than being very, very strong and stark like a red is. So for this particular one, we're going to be using, it's called the Eroding Burnt Rust colour. Very straightforward. What you're going to need is a little cap. Okay, you're going to need a drop of water, so I've just got some water in a bottle like this. Okay, and you're going to need a brush. Now you're going to need 2 brushes. Both of them need to be clean. You want one large, one small. Just look for a smaller brush somewhere. Have a small one here somewhere. As I say, you don't want anything micro small, but about this size. So you need a larger flat brush and a small one. Now, we did some streaking back here a few weeks ago. What I'm going to do is show you about obviously doing a drag. Now, secret to doing these is just to keep it very simple, very, very quick, and let it do it itself. So the first thing we're going to do is going to take a couple of drops of water, okay, just onto the top here, literally just like that. Okay, next we're going to take the pigment, okay, just a little bit, not going to need tons here. And we're just going to give it a bit of a mix just on the top, and you want to make it sort of go to a paste, okay, so we just give it a good old mix round. Now if you want to, you can just let this stand and let it evaporate, and it will come into your paste as you go, but just add water to it as obviously the pasting comes back. Okay, right the way on there, so we take just a little bit more just to speed things up on your cap, just like this, all over. Okay, so as you say, consistency of paste works round about the best way. Next, you're going to need somewhere for it to actually sit. So if we just pick an area on here, say Bora Buster, you've seen better times. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take a drill bit, okay, and we're just going to make a small hole, well not a hole, but an indentation into the surface, okay, just a little bit more than you need. Alright, so we're going to do one here, we're going to do one up here, because what we need to do is for the pigment, for it somewhere to sit and get into. Okay, so we just do one more. Now this works, obviously I'm doing it with a hole to show you something like the ship, but if you want to do a line of bleeding, obviously you could then score a small line in and do it just like that. Okay, next up we're going to need, and he says not having one, a little dish full of just water. Okay, so we've got here just a cap. So what I'm going to do is just put some plain water into this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just going to put in a drop or two of airbrush cleaner. The airbrush cleaner is purely to break the surface tension of the water, so you're not going to need much, just a little squirt in there like that. Okay, give it a good old mix, and that is just to make it flow better, because the thing is, if it beads up, you're just going to end up with balls everywhere, and this is quite a shiny surface, okay, so you need it to be quite flat. So what you want to do first of all is test it to make sure that your surface has got some bite, okay, and it is able to, the wash to go over it. So you might be able to see or might not. You see this is beading up, so we're going to need a little bit more airbrush cleaner in here just to do it. Now normally you would do this over a satin coat or a flat finish, okay, but we're hoping that's more like it. You can see now it's just dragging and pooling very nicely. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll just grab a bit of tissue and we're just going to give this a wipe off, because we want it to be dry. Okay, right, next up we're going to take our little guy here, alright, and what we're going to do is just put a drop in each one of these holes. Okay, so you just put in a small little drop because we just want a small little streak to come out. Alright, so it just sits on there like that. Then we take our brush, so quite a nice brush, plenty of water on it but not dripping, okay, so you just want quite a bit of water on there. Okay, so you go from above it, okay, and drag down. And immediately what happens is the pigment gets very wet and then it'll just drag and come with it. But what you don't want to do is drag it again, because if you do it again, the pigment is on the brush, and well, unfortunately what will happen is it will come down. But as you can see, as time goes on and this dries back, it will start to fade. So what you can do is, down the bottom here where it's gone a little bit wrong, you can just simply come along with the cotton bud and clean up all the excess that you don't want, giving you your fallen rust. Now the trouble I've got here is I'm doing this on its side, okay, and not doing it vertically, because if you do it vertically, obviously the water goes, and as it falls down it pulls it with it. So ideally you want to keep it up on the edge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try the next one at more of an angle. So clean your brush off. Okay, to be honest, just rubbed it on my trousers, and in again, plenty of water. Okay, straight down and just drag it. Okay, we're going to keep it more of an edge. What we're going to do now is just take the excess away. Okay, and as you can see, it just drains and it will head south. And what it will do, it will fill up all the riveting detail and everything and just go off like it would normally. All right, so again, we're just going to reload up, rinse the brush, come in from the top, past it, and drag down. And we just let it naturally find its own level as it's all coming down. So it's quite a nice one. He's going absolutely everywhere and pulling down, but it needs to be on the vertical so it can all track and make its own way. And that's exactly what we did here with the ship. I just went around and did it exactly the same way to give us that effect of it pulling down and dragging. Now, if you wanted to do it on more of a line basis, I'll just grab a peat cutter. What we'll do, if we just pick a panel line, so we're just going to chisel this one out and make it deeper. Now the idea is, obviously you're making it deeper so you can get more pigment in there so it will bleed better when you drag it down. So again, we're just going to grab a little bit of the colour. Okay, we're just going to put a little bit along it. And what you can do, obviously you can let it dry naturally, and then when you put it down it will streak it and bring it back a little bit more. But the trouble is, if I try it over here on somewhere which hasn't got a groove, it will just turn into sort of a wet mess quite quickly. Okay, so we just clean our brush, take our water again on the top and drag down. And as I say, you can get quite a nice effect, but you've got a blob at the top and it's sort of just running. Instead of doing it as it does in panel lines, it's giving you somewhere where it is and you can physically see that bit of damage and then pulls down. Okay, so what we'll do, we're just going to grab this guy again. So as you say, you're not flooding the brush, but you do need it wet on top, and we just come down, reload the brush, clean it off, it's past it. And what you'll do is you'll get a balance and a feel for how much water you need on your area. Okay, then obviously we've got it down here, we don't want it on here, we can just clean it up. If you clean it up when it's wet, it's very, very simple. Okay, we're just going to take the bottom of that out, and what will happen is it will find its own level and come down, and that just gives you your rusty bleed areas as they're coming through. And as they dry out, you can come in with a second pass, okay, and you can reawaken them just like this. But so it's important to clean your brush between each stroke, or at least turn it. Okay, and there we go. Now don't forget, you can use different colours, different tones. Let it totally dry, put perhaps a tiny different bit of colour on there, and you can change the tone just a little bit. So just over here, we're going to use some of this yellow colour. So we're just going to add a little bit down into the pigment. Okay, got a little bit too much on here if we're honest. All we're going to do is just going to pick out tiny little bits in here onto the cut type area. We just do a little bit on the top. Like this. Okay. But you need the water to work it, to make it all sort of come to life. But it's a secret, clean your brush. Okay, and you can do little flicks, so you can pick up a little bit on your brush like this. Okay, keeping it quite wet. Okay, then you can really sort of bring it to life, and by using different colours, different shades and things like that. So we've just got a tiny bit on here, but we've got a little bit too much on there. Just got a little bit here. What I'm going to do is just going to put a few little bits around, just like this. Clean out your brush. Okay. And you can weather in and stain in and make it, but if you look down at this side one here, we just put this camera down a little bit. As you can see, by making the hole, you've got a perfect area of where that rust has come from, okay? So these little holes here, you can see exactly where the rust is coming from and why it's coming from it. These other ones, you can see, like this guy up here, there's no real reason why it's rusty, but because we've torn a little bit into it, it gives the pigment something to grip to. It looks very dark there and come along. And to be honest, that's exactly how I did the ship. When you're doing it over a more flat satin finish, it's got a little bit more bite to it, takes a little bit more work. But don't forget, if you don't like it, and the usual thing with all things, the way I do it, is you just rub it off and start again. Okay, so you can just wipe this down, like so. Grab some water. Okay, plenty of water, clean side of whatever you're cleaning with, and you can just literally give it a scrub, and you can start again, no problem at all. And that's the beauty with it. If you're using enamels, washes, things like that, unless you know what you're doing, you run the risk of sort of wrecking stuff, and that's me to a T. I've never weathered a ship before, so when I did it, I wanted to do it in a way that I was quite happy with and quite safe with. So by using pigments, the clay wash, things like that, and a little bit of ink, I knew what I was going to get with it, no problems at all. And a few of them, to be honest, went wrong. If you watch the video on this, you'll see that I've adjusted a few of them, wiped them back, they were too strong, didn't look right, wrong colour, things like that, and certainly clean them up and go around it all, just like that. But there we go, simple rust. Okay, so there we go, that's doing little rust streaking. Obviously there's a lot more about that if you watch this video, because obviously I show about doing it quite in depth on this particular one, which I think will be probably part 8 maybe. Don't know, 7 or 8 will be about doing the rust, okay, on this one, and I show it a lot more in depth. That's obviously just a quick version. What I'm going to do next week, we're going to be covering painting tyres, because you've asked me about how do you paint tyres, and it's a good point, because apparently I did do it in a video, but I can't find it. So I'm going to redo it, obviously new in HD and everything else like that. And then obviously if you've got a thing you want to see me do on a quick tip, usual thing, shoot me a thing in the forum, Facebook page or on the site, and I'll try and do it for you. So anyway, group builds and SIGs pushing along, and they all seem to be getting to that point now. We're only a couple of months out. The Stars of the Silver Screen, we've got some great work on that. You've got until April the 30th, so really you've got 2 months on that. So that means I've got 2 months to do the Star Destroyer. Okay, better get on with that. Better get this finished actually tomorrow. Okay, so anyway, you've got until 30th of April. We've got 114 entries on this one, and so far we've got 34 finished. So come on guys, let's really have a push on this. Don't forget, everybody gets a medal, which I haven't got one to hand, and that's probably the sticker. I'm trying to do the stickers again. You know, the big stickers we did, Flory models, I'm trying to get them sorted again. So everybody will get a medal and a sticker for taking part, and then obviously we're going to have the winners and everything drawn at the end as well. We've got the great prizes, don't forget, and again, they're all the way up. Not very organised today. But obviously you've got the Zucamori kit, which is what, 250 quid worth of kit for first prize. We've got the F14, and we've got the other German thingy-majig, which I can't remember where it is. Plus the fact you get the washes, and the winners obviously get free membership as well. So lots to do on that one. SIG-wise, we've got the Butcherbird SIG, which got something about that coming up shortly. You've got until the 16th of March for that one. The day before my birthday, which is St. Patrick's Day. Always a good day to have your birthday. So anyway, we've got 31 entries in there, and we've got 13 finished, including the one you'll see in a moment. The support vehicle SIG got till the 4th of May on this one. Some great work going on in there, and I'm going to have a good look at that next week's show. So if you want to see about those, join us next week. 31 entries in that one again, but we've only got 6 finished, but you have got the 4th of May on that one, so still plenty of time to run with that. No decision's been made on the next group build after this. I've had a couple of emails this week about it, which is the next one. As I said, I need to speak to the team now they're all coming back because they've all been away recently, and we're going to sort things out obviously over the next couple of weeks and try and get some dates knocked out and exactly what it's going to be, so you can get all your kits organised and things like that. So there we go. Right, that's about it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Next week, as I say, we're going to have a look around at a few other things. We've got the tips section coming up. This one will be completed, and we're going to have a look at the beginning of the Star Destroyer build as well. So plenty to look forward to on that one. So I'm going to leave you with, again, I look at it because it's over there, is the fantastic job by Robert Greene. Now, he has done the Tamiya 148 scale FW 190. This is the D9 kit, the long nose one. We all know it because it's got the red and white bottom on it, but he's done a fantastic job. And we do have to say, this was the first time he's ever entered into a SIG, and his first ever diary blog or photo build of the actual doing his work on it as well. So you've done a great job, Rob, absolutely fantastic. So everyone sit back, relax, and let's have a look.